You remember when you bought it? Maybe you don't remember the exact price, but you remember the feeling, that slight uncertainty like, am I reading this right? Is this actually what I think it is? Or am I just seeing what I want to see? I think about that version of myself sometimes. The one who bought in and then just had to sit with it, had to watch everything else run while we waited, had to explain it at Thanksgiving dinner, had to read the headlines. Well, this video, it's for that person, not to hype them up, just to show them what's been quietly accumulating while they weren't looking at the price. Because look, here's the thing about how this actually works. The announcements don't come first. The infrastructure comes first. The relationships, they get built. The integrations go live, and then eventually someone holds a press conference. But by then, the people who understood it early, they've already been sitting on it for years. That's us. That's what about today is, folks. Everything I'm about to show you, none of them are going to go viral, but most of them aren't even being talked about outside of this community. But they're all real. It's all documented. And when you lay them out next to each other, something starts to take place. And we're going to start with South Korea, because South Korea is exactly where the 2017 bull run started, and it's going to be the next bull run starter as well. Look at this up on your screen. XRP is trading at 1,662 Korean won on Upbit. Now, that's about $1.09 at your current exchange rate. I wish it was 1,662 at our current exchange rate, but it's not yet. $1.09. Fine. But I want you to look at the volume column here. It's over 113 million won in 24 hours. Now I want you to look at Bitcoin. It's all in the chart. Maybe it's a little small for you, but go on, zoom on in there. 98,758 million, okay? XRP is outpacing Bitcoin on South Korea's largest crypto exchange. And this isn't a one-day fluke. If you've been paying attention, South Korea has a very specific cultural relationship with XRP that goes back years. They've been heavy on this thing for a very long time. But what this screenshot tells me isn't really about Korea. It is about global demand that isn't dependent on American retail investors rediscovering the asset, that isn't dependent on Michael Saylor waking up on a Monday morning and buying more Bitcoin. This thing has a base, a real sustained base, and it's going on in one of the most active crypto markets on earth. Think about that. Now, what I'm about to show you next, I'm going to warn you, it's going to sound like nothing, but it's not nothing. This is huge. This is from Noble. I've been following FortisX for quite some time, and what I like is that they continue to move towards greater transparency and security. Their platform is designed for long-term holders who want to put assets like XRP to work through liquidity pools and simply instead of keeping them idle. Over the past months, the team has completed audits with CertiK and Cyberscope, and they made the company publicly visible through SEC Edgar filings, and recently they launched a 50,000 CertiK bug bounty program so independent security researchers can test the platform. They clearly keep investing in security and transparency, which is exactly what you want to see from a project, folks. If you've been holding XRP for the long term and you want to learn more, check out the link down below. Noble is the national organization of Black law enforcement executives. They just became the first major law enforcement group to formally endorse the Clarity Act. That's right. And I want to read you something directly from their letter to the Senate leadership. It states, and I'm going to quote this, okay? Preserves long-standing criminal enforcement authorities. That is them directly addressing the main objection from other law enforcement groups who has pushed back on this legislation. This matters because the fight over crypto legislation isn't just Democrats versus Republicans or crypto industry versus the government. There's been a block of law enforcement organizations arguing that the Clarity Act would weaken their ability to go after a crypto crime. Well, Noble just broke from that block, formally, in writing, signed by their national president, Renee Hall. That is like in a wall that people assumed was solid. And now for XRP specifically, think about it. The Clarity Act creates the legal framework that lets institutional players operate in this space without having to worry about the regulatory gray cloud over their head. Every endorsement that moves this bill closer to the president's desk is one more foundation stone under everything that we've been watching get built. Now think about what it took to get a law enforcement organization to put their name on an actual crypto bill. That's not a casual thing. Someone had to do the work. Someone had to show them the framework. This doesn't just happen by accident, which actually connects us to something that President Trump just said. But first, folks, if you have not signed up for my new channel yet, go get it done. It's called Rip Talks Money. This is life after crypto. We got to start preparing now. The next bull run that's coming later this year, all throughout 27 and 2028, you need to know what you're going to do. We talk retirement. We talk financial freedom. We talk investments. What you need to know to prepare yourself. I'm telling you, get on over there. There's one video comes out every Monday. The next one's just a couple of days away, and I think you're going to like it. So now let's talk about President Trump here. Now, I want to play this clip for you because his words matter. Setup is simple, right? This is your president recently talking about crypto. That's right. Let's get to the beginning. Boom.
There was a large sum of money made in crypto. Did you know that your family business was going to engage in crypto? Did you have anything?
Well, I was here before. I was there before I was in office. But the way I view crypto is a little differently. We have to be at the top. Otherwise, China's going to take it over. Like, for instance, AI. We're leading substantially in AI over China and everybody else. I mean, we're leading. When I was with President Xi 3 weeks ago, he greeted me, and his first words, I mean, literally were, wow, you've really done a great job. You've really, because this country we had a country, now we have the hottest country in the world. And the way I look at AI, or the way I look at crypto, is if we're not going to do it, China's going to get it. Most likely China or somebody else. Japan is somebody else. And I want to, it's a big industry. Crypto, if you call it an industry, but it's a big deal. And crypto is a big deal. You look at it and the way it's grown over the years. You have believers, you don't have believers, whatever it is, but it's a big deal. And anything we do, I want to be number one in. And we're number one in crypto, and we're also number one in AI.
In the disclosure, this was.
Yeah.
He's right. Is he not? Crypto is a big deal, folks. US is number one in crypto and AI. And that detail doesn't get enough attention. He specifically mentioned that he was in crypto, or the crypto business, before he became president. He got personal skin in the game. That's not speculation. That's his own statement. And when someone with that kind of executive authority has personal investment in an industry doing well, the question of whether the Clarity Act gets signed, it stops being theoretical. Now, look, I'm not saying it's guaranteed to get signed tomorrow. I'm just saying the conditions for it are more favorable right now than they have ever been. And Noble's endorsement today is one more piece of that puzzle that's starting to click into place. Now, let me show you something that I think is massively undercovered. Standard Charter, you know them. They got the little XRP prediction out there, and I like it. Remember when they did the world's first cross-border remittance to India in 37 seconds? There you go. It's right on your screen. The headline says it used SWIFT's new retail payment framework. Westpac facilitated this transaction. So you got SWIFT, Westpac, Standard Charter, and India. Here's what doesn't make the Reuters headlines. Standard Charter and Westpac both joined Ripple, their ecosystem, years ago. Now, India has historically been Ripple's most penetrated corridor. Back in 2018, Ripple's leadership stated that roughly 50%, and I thought the number was higher than 50, but I guess it's 50%. This was said by Ashish Birla, by the way, who used to work at Ripple's CEO of Evernorth. He stated that Ripple had roughly 50% of the Indian market and it was either already integrated or in the pipeline. And that financial institutions are confirmed to run both Ripple and SWIFT connections simultaneously. They're not either or. So when you read SWIFT's new framework, that's not the whole picture. Ripple is in the layer underneath that, the infrastructure, the part that doesn't get a byline. This is exactly what I mean about the handshakes that aren't being announced. No one's going to put out a press release that says, we use Ripple's tech to do this. No, that's not how enterprise banking works. But all the connections are there. The relationships have been built. That 30-second settlement didn't happen because someone wished really hard. It's like buying real estate in a neighborhood right before the announcement that a major company is moving its headquarters there. Except in this case, that company has been quietly moving furniture in for 3 years, and they still haven't done the press release on it yet. Now, have they? All right, now let's move over to price. Let's talk about what is the price actually doing right now. Let's look at the TA. This chart's on the XRP weekly chart. You should always be looking at the weekly and monthly, bi-weekly. Stop looking at the daily. You see the green line, that's your 20-week EMA, sitting at about $1.36. Your red line, 50-week EMA, sitting at $1.67. Price right now, it's below both of them. It's about $1.10 right now. So what the analyst has pointed out here, and this came over from Chart Nerd, is that the historical pattern, we've seen this before. When XRP enters July of a midterm year, trading below its 20-week EMA, well, it has historically been pulled back towards it like a magnet. Not always dramatically, not all at once, but the gravitational pull does exist. So step one right now, got to get back to $1.36, your 20-week EMA. We need closes above that. Step two, after that is established and we can turn that into a new base, we got to make a move towards the 50-week, which is around $1.67. Now, this chart shows you the full structure going back to last year. You can see the correction from the highs, the pattern coming in, and where we sit now relative to both moving averages. Nothing about this, folks, I want to be clear, is urgent or alarming. It is just context. We're below both lines. Historically, that's been temporary when the macro and fundamental environment is constructive. And I argue the environment right now, it's about as constructive as it's been. But this will move us over to Dark Defender's chart. What is he looking at? Because he adds in a different layer here. Same general read, different time frame. He's looking at a 3-day chart, and he's calling a completed corrective structure. He's flagging a hidden bullish divergence on the RSI, and the chart shows it pretty clearly. Lower lows in price, but the RSI is actually rising. Higher double taps at the bottom. Now look, for people who don't live in charts, what this means in plain English is that the price kept going down, but the underlying momentum indicator stopped confirming it. That's a split. And historically, what we have seen is when price and momentum diverge like that at the bottom of a corrective structure, price usually tends to follow momentum back up. Now, Dark Defender is looking at a test of $1.88. That's your 161 fib level. Not financial advice, not for me. I'm reporting the data. Do we get there? Sure. At some point. When? Well, that's when my crystal ball is still in the shop here. But what I find interesting about, putting all this information together in the charts and all these different ideas is that one is looking at a weekly EMA and historical seasonal behavior. One is looking at your elite wave structure and RSI divergence on a 3-day time frame. They're not coordinating. They're just both looking at the same chart and they're coming to similar conclusions, which is ultimately a bullish sign. I like it. Now, I want to keep coming back to this. This is, we mentioned it multiple times throughout this video, but there's a moment that's going to happen. It's not going to happen in a trading app. It's not going to happen on a chart. Where someone who doesn't follow any of this asks you about XRP and you realize you don't have to explain it anymore. They already know. They saw it somewhere. A friend mentioned it. Their bank orphaned it. That moment is going to feel, I don't say feel, but it's going to be completely unremarkable when it happens. It's not going to feel like a victory. It's just going to feel normal. And that's the thing you've been holding for. Not a number on the screen, even though, trust me, I know some of you want that high number, but because the moment is becoming boring. The moment, it's just infrastructure. The moment, nobody has to explain it at Thanksgiving anymore. We're not there yet, but we're getting close. But 37 seconds from Standard Chartered to India, through layers that included Ripple with Noble signing letters and the Clarity Act moving through Senate and South Korea running more XRP volume than Bitcoin on its biggest exchange. We're a lot closer to boring than we ever were, and that is bullish. Hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate everyone who hits that like button. I'll see all y'all on the next one.